I think we're rolling. Ask and you shall receive. We have a special guest today. Want to be in the video? Oh, that's a good girl. Yes. All right. If you're watching the video, this is Lucille. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. I'm watching my friend's dog. Unfortunately, Shark has to stay in jail during podcasts because he just makes a lot of really loud noise and screams and cries the whole time. So I can't let Shark out. But Lucille is a majestic angel. Right, Lucille. Today we're talking about my running journey because a lot of people have questions about it and are confused, and rightfully so, because I'm not a runner. Nor do I really like running, or I would have said that until probably the last couple months. I mean, even my first few months into running, I really didn't like it in any way, shape, or form. But we did it anyway. But now I thoroughly enjoy a nice run. It's definitely hard sometimes, and I hate it at times still. But overall, I would say that I do enjoy running now. But growing up, I was a gymnast. I did cross country for a little bit in middle school and track as well. But yeah, I would have never classified myself as a runner, nor do I have the body shape for marathoning. So yeah, I don't know if that's in the cards. I started running at the beginning of the year, and you guys probably saw my Instagram or TikTok post about me running 11 miles for my Strava debut. We'll get into how I got there in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to share the whole story because now most people on social media know me as a runner, or my friends in real life too will ask me about like how's my training going or what's running been looking like for me. And I just wanted to tell y'all from start to finish how we got to where we are today, because so many people are looking for help or advice on how to get to where I'm at today. So it's been about a 6-month journey from literally not even being able to run probably a mile to now running 11 miles in a day. One common question that I get is like, oh, why'd you start running? Well, I didn't want to say this on the podcast, but I'm going to give it to you guys because you guys deserve it. I started running because of a boy. I'm so embarrassed. I hope he never finds out. I don't think many people know who this is. Only my close friends do, but he doesn't know who he is, nor do most of my friends know who he is, but there's a man, and that is all I'm going to say. Nothing ever materialized, so it's not like, oh, this little runner love story. No, he probably barely knows that I exist. To set the scene a little bit, February 2024. I am getting out of a relationship. I recently got out of a relationship, and I was also recovering from mold poisoning. But like I said in another episode, like at the beginning of the year, I really reflected on the year prior, which 2023 was really my year of healing my mold poisoning. And there's a whole podcast episode about that. So go listen to that. If you're like, what is she talking about? Mold poisoning? What does that mean? I have a whole episode about it if you scroll back like 5 or so episodes. At the beginning of the year, I was like really committed to getting back into a workout routine because part of having mold poisoning was that I really struggled to work out and even just function on a daily level. And so running or being consistent in the gym was just not really on the table for me at that point. And so by the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, I feel really good and healthy and back to normal, praise God, but I need to get into a workout routine. And what am I going to do? And so I downloaded ClassPass. I was trying all of these workouts and nothing was really piquing my interest. Like I wasn't really enjoying the Pilates classes I was going to. I wasn't really enjoying like cycling like I'd used to. And I ended up finding boxing, which was super great. So I started boxing kind of near the end of 2023 and was doing classes. I ended up finding a gym that I really love. I box at Archetype Boxing Club in North Austin. And so I do that multiple times a week. Love that. But I also wanted to do something else. And I had a friend invite me to the run club at church because I was just looking for new community, new friends, and also something active to do. And so I was like, sure, I'll go. And I ultimately decided to go when I found out that this guy that I had met at church goes to the run club. And I was like, oh my gosh, perfect. I'll just pull up casually, and this is how I'm gonna slide in. Well, that did not go as planned, even though I did meet him, and we do know each other now. He still probably has no idea I exist, and there's a whole cascade of events that ensued after that I'm not going to detail in the podcast, but basically nothing ever happened with that boy. But I started going to run club because of that guy, and I made a bunch of friends at run club, and I ended up enjoying running. And so I continued to show up, at least for the first few weeks, because of this guy. But then afterward, because I started making all of these friends, and I also joined another run club called Raw Dog Run Club. And that was about the same time. It might have actually even been like the same week I went to this run club for the first time and Raw Dog. And I saw that one on Instagram because there's like some funny video about like, we started a run club so that we could like find wives or whatever. And I was like, I would like a husband. I will be there. And so I went, and I've consistently been going every week, and I've made so many friends at that as well. And now I'm even on their pacer team. So if you live in Austin and you want to come hang out with me, come to the 10-minute pace group at Raw Dog Run Club on Saturdays. Follow them on Instagram, and you'll see me there. So that's what I do with my life. Oh, Lucille. Lucille is just laying right in front of the tripod. I love her so much because she's not like Shark, where Shark bites the tripod, but Lucille's just laying there. Oh, you're such a good girl. Shark's jealous. Sir, calm down. Anyway, I joined those two run clubs primarily for the social aspect, but also to challenge myself, push myself outside my comfort zone, and potentially get into running because I was looking for sports to do, workouts to do that I could consistently show up to. So having something where there was that accountability of like people texting me like, hey, you're gonna be at run club in the morning, that was really nice. And it also got me outside, and it was really just helpful during a kind of low period in my life of feeling really just down about a breakup that I was going through, and also just like what is this next phase of my life going to look like? So I've kept being consistent with running, A, for the community of it, because run clubs have exploded in Austin. There's like so many, and I've been to many other ones as well, but the ones I go to consistently are one called Good Grief on Monday mornings, my church's run club on Wednesday morning, and then Raw Dog on Saturday morning. And then I'll sprinkle usually another run in there throughout the week, and then I'll box on the days that I don't run. Or sometimes I'll double up, but I try to only work out like 5 to 6 days a week. And so now, after I would say like 6 months of being really consistent with running, I can say that I actually really enjoy it. It's something that's very challenging for me, and I think that's one thing that I used to really not like about running, is that it was really hard. And so one thing about me is that I was born with a heart condition, and I am okay. It's funny when I tell people that, they're like, "Oh my God, is she dying?" It's like, no, I'm not dying. But it is something that I monitor with a cardiologist regularly, and it is something that my whole life I feel like I've struggled a little bit with endurance. Like, I was a swimmer growing up, more so a gymnast, but I did swimming in the summers, and the long events, like I just really struggled with because I couldn't maintain the pace that everybody else could because my heart rate was too high or my chest would hurt. And same thing with running, especially at the beginning, I would be running with my heart rate like at 200, which is probably not good for you, and also really freaking hard and kind of painful for your chest. But I wanted to challenge myself, but at the beginning, I really kind of hated it. Like, I kind of dreaded waking up at 6:30 in the morning, or I guess waking up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to this run at 6:30 and running 2 miles to start, then graduating to the 4.5 mile route, which I do every week now. It was something that it took me a while of just doing it and sucking before I improved that now I can actually enjoy it. So I feel like that's one thing too, if you're starting to run and you really suck, is just kind of expect that it's going to suck. And you have to get over that hump of like sucking before you can actually enjoy it because you're improving. And so part of what I enjoy about running now is finishing my run and stopping my Apple Watch and being like, ooh, my heart rate was a little bit lower today, or my pace was a little bit faster. I was able to go a little bit farther. And the challenging myself in that way has been really nice. And also being able to run with people too that challenge you, people that run faster than you, that have been running longer than you. It's definitely improved my pace and my heart rate and all of that stuff over time. And so that's what I like about it. I think it's normal to hate something that you're really bad at. And so I've always hated running. I've always not wanted to run. And I did it for a boy. Some people ask me, how did I get to where I am today? Which where I'm at today is last week I ran 11 miles in one day, which I didn't run it in full succession. The longest like single run that I've done is about 7 miles, which I'm hoping to get to 10 by the end of the year. But I did run 11 miles in one day. I did a 5 in the morning and a 6 at night. And that was when I decided, okay, I'm going to download Strava and be a runner, because I felt a little bit of imposter syndrome at the beginning of my running journey of like, I don't want to download Strava because I'm going to be embarrassing myself on social media with my pace and running 2 miles. I was like, should I even really add a run to Strava if I'm running 2 miles? Which you definitely can. But for me at the time, I was like a little bit too embarrassed to have Strava. So now I have Strava and I'm really not that good still. I'm like still a very average runner. Even though I'm getting miles in, I'm not like running 8-minute pace all the time or like ever. I also think the heat has like a lot to do with it because it's like 100 degrees outside. And I mean, I try to run in the morning when it's not 100 degrees outside, but you're sweating buckets and you can barely breathe because of the humidity. So I'm really interested to see how I'll do in the cooler weather in the fall and just like, does that help my pace or heart rate? So TBD on that. Now, I would say I consistently run about 15 to 20 miles a week. That's pretty normal. And then 11 miles in one day is a lot, but I would say I run usually 4 to 5 mile increments 4 days a week, and that's 16 miles. I would say that's like pretty standard for me. And a lot of people on TikTok have been asking me, like, how did I improve? And so I'm going to share with you guys how I got to where I am. But honestly, this is probably nothing that you haven't heard before. So sorry if this is boring, but like truly it was just consistency, being a part of run clubs that you have that accountability of showing up and suffering through it, even if you're tired or even if you're not doing the best that you could. And also just being surrounded by people who are better than you, who can help you improve and also give you tips. I would say another thing that helped me improve was my shoes. So right now I'm currently running in on Cloud Surfers. And I remember the first time I ran in them, I took like 20 seconds or more off my pace just from wearing the shoe. So that's kind of crazy. So maybe consider like what shoe you're wearing. I got my feet fitted at this place called Fleet Feet. I think they have them in other places in Texas. I don't know if this is a national brand or not, but there are running shoe stores, I'm sure, near you, and you should get your foot fitted for a shoe, because the other day I was wearing Asics and I was wearing carbon plate shoes, and I did run a lot faster, which was awesome, but then they made my heel bleed. So that kind of sucks. So you want to wear a shoe that is comfortable and not going to make you bleed or blister, even though I do have a toe blister right now and my ankle also hurts, and I'm supposed to run 5 miles in the morning, and we're going to see how that goes. Maybe we'll just do 2 because I'm in a little bit of pain from last week. I did 11 miles one day and then 6 miles like the next day. And then I did 4 miles yesterday, and then I'm going to try to do 5 miles tomorrow. So it's just kind of a lot of mileage going on right now. So I might need to reel it back for a week. But getting a good shoe, very important. Being consistent, very important. I would say running with people, very important. I also think another thing that running with people helps with is running at a pace you can talk at, because people say that the best pace for you to run at, even if it's slow, is the pace you can talk at, because your heart gets conditioned better in zone 2, zone 3 cardio, which I think it's like 140 to 170-ish. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But it's better to run at a lower heart rate than all out sprinting for as long as you can. because I think that sends your body into a little bit more of a fight or flight response, and you're running off adrenaline versus conditioning your heart to improve and beat at a lower beat per minute. My current schedule is just running Monday, Wednesday, Saturday at run clubs, and then I do another run throughout the week. So sometimes that's on a Sunday if I'm really feeling up to it. I don't force myself ever to work out on Sundays just because that's my like Sabbath rest day. But if I find that it would be really relaxing for me or would prepare me for the week ahead, I'll do it. So sometimes it's Sunday. A lot of times it's a Thursday or Friday. And so I'd say Friday mornings are pretty common for me to do my little solo run, but the other runs I do with friends. And I would say that has made the world of a difference. So if you're trying to get into running, try to find a run club that you can run with or a friend who will run with you and run at a pace that you can talk at. And don't worry so much about the speed as much as the distance if you're trying to train for distance or just getting more miles in throughout the week. And that's kind of how I got to my 11-mile status here. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 10 miles continuously by the end of the year. That was one of my goals for after turning 25. I just really think that that would be cool. A lot of people ask me if I'm training for a half or a full marathon, and the answer is absolutely not. I just don't really care. Like, I don't know. Some people love to train for marathons, Ironmans, triathlons, all that kind of stuff, and like compete. But I really just like competing against myself. And so I don't feel the need to like run a marathon to do that. Now, if there's ever an opportunity for like my friend was talking about the other day, like running half marathon in Cancun, like maybe something like that I would do just because like it's a destination and it'd be like a trip and an adventure and experience. But just like signing up for a half marathon just to run a half marathon or even a full marathon honestly sounds horrible. Honestly, a full marathon just sounds horrible. And I just don't believe that is good for your body in any way. No shade to my friends who are marathoners because I have plenty of them and I respect that and admire that so much. I just don't want to put my body through that. I feel like I would die and I just don't want that. But I'm always open to changing my mind because who knows? But I really just don't think I'm ever going to run a marathon and that's completely fine with me. So yeah, that's one question I get a lot is like, oh, are you training for a half? You training for a full? And I'm like, no, I'm just running. I'm trying not to go crazy out here because I will say running has significantly improved my mental health. Like my mental health and like spiritual health as well is probably as best as it's ever been. One thing about running that I love is that I run without headphones the majority of the time. So I'm either like talking with people while I'm running, or even if I'm running with people, but I'm not talking, like I'm able to like process through my thoughts and clear my head a little bit. And I just love that so much because I'm able to then go along with my day and I don't feel like bogged down by whatever's going on in my brain. Even I'll take it as an opportunity to like pray. I feel like that's also really special for me whenever I'm by myself is like running and just praying and talking to God and just kind of reminding myself what I'm thankful for and what God's doing in my life and praying for other people and just that whole experience as well. Sure. I don't know what's wrong with this man. Anyway, I just feel like it's been really great for not only my mental health, but also my emotional and spiritual health too. So I don't foresee myself stopping running anytime soon. I definitely feel like right now I'm in a little bit of a like, I need a break time period just because my body's starting to hurt a little bit. Like my knee's been feeling a little weird. My ankle hurts today. I got a toe blister, which could be a shoe issue. I'm trying to figure out like, how do I know when my shoes are worn out? And yeah, so I'm navigating a little bit of that. So we'll see. But another thing that I do want to say that's been like part of my running journey is learning how to fuel myself properly. Now, as a person that has struggled with like disordered eating thoughts or just like not having a great relationship with food and bad body image issues, which I've also talked about in another episode called I got tired of hating myself, if you want to listen to that one. Once I started running, it obviously increased my appetite and that like freaked me out because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to eat so much and then I'm going to get fat and then I'm going to be ugly and then I'm going to die. You know, like of course we all spiral like that. And it's been really hard for me to transition into thinking about, okay, I need to fuel my body for this run, or like I need to eat in preparation for this run, or I need to make sure I'm eating enough protein. I need to make sure that I'm recovering my body, refueling my body, all of that kind of stuff, because I don't adhere to any specific like food rules, schedule. Like I don't have a breakfast time, a lunchtime, and a dinner time. I'm always just intuitively eating. Like if I'm hungry at breakfast time, I'll eat breakfast. If I'm hungry at dinner time, I'll eat dinner, but what times those are and how frequently I eat changes every single day. How much I eat changes every single day. And I just really try to listen to my body and trust my body. And that's made me honestly the healthiest and happiest mentally. And so running has definitely changed that a lot for me. I feel like I'm getting to even a greater level of like trust and respect for my body, that I'm like, okay, I know I need to eat. I know I need to fuel myself. I know that I need this in order to perform well the next day. And yeah, it's made me much more confident, not only in my own body and what my body's capable of, but also physically how I look. And that's just like helped me so much mentally too, not struggling so much with body image or I don't know, any of those things that all girls and even guys struggle with. Yeah, who would have thought it would have really improved all of those things? So that's all I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it helpful. Maybe I'll do an update in a couple months of how it's going. Like I said, I really want to run 10 miles. Once I run 10 miles, I'll let you know. Be sure to follow me on TikTok though, because I share a little bit of my running journey on there. I try not to make it like my whole content because it's truly not at all every piece of me, but it is like a fun little hobby and a great way that I've built friendships and really pushed myself and challenged myself in a way that I haven't done in a long time. And so yeah, we'll see where it takes me. I'm just going with the flow right now, but overall, I'm really glad that that boy got me into running, and I hope he never listens to this. He doesn't know who he is, but I would be very embarrassed if he found out who he is and then heard this. Anyway, I'm gonna stop myself right there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Sorry I didn't get an episode out last week. I just planned super poorly. Oh my gosh, wait, I have an update. So I told you guys in the last episode, which was 2 weeks ago, about my concert that I was going to in Houston. I was going to like a Kid Leroy concert. And that's kind of why I didn't get an episode up, is because I was in Houston and I usually record my podcast on a Monday or a Tuesday before the Wednesday that it goes up. And I was out of town and I didn't have any of my equipment with me and I just wasn't going to do it. And so I didn't plan accordingly and didn't have an episode up. Anyway, he canceled the freaking concert like 4 days before. So that kind of sucked. But long story short, I couldn't get my hotel to move my date to the new date. So he rescheduled the concert for September and I couldn't get him to move it. So I ended up just going to the hotel anyway with my friend Dre, and we just made a little 24-hour trip out of it. And it was fun. It was a little girls trip. It was a good time. So glad I went. Didn't get to go meet the Kid Leroy, but I will. I still will. He has rescheduled this concert twice and I will still be there because I love that man. I digress. Hope you guys have a good week. Hope you guys found this informational, and I hope you don't listen to this if you're the guy. That is all.